It's wild how quickly a scroll through social media can affect someone. In just a few seconds, a young person's entire self-image can be totally shaped or even shattered. Today, we're going to break down some really important research on a critical issue, that deep, deep connection between our digital world and youth body image. So, it all starts with this one big idea we really need to get our heads around: the digital standard. Think of it like this: unwritten, always changing rulebook for how you're supposed to look, all curated and amplified online. And as we're about to see, its impact on youth mental health is, well, it's profound. And the data? It's basically sounding a huge alarm bell. What experts call body image distress, that constant feeling of anxiety and negativity about your own appearance, it's not just a fleeting insecurity anymore. It's becoming a massive, growing problem among young people. Okay, so let's dig into the core finding. What does this growing distress actually look like? And who, exactly, is it affecting? Right, let's be super clear about what we're talking about here. This isn't just having a bad hair day or not liking one photo of yourself. Body image distress is a chronic state of anxiety. It's like carrying this heavy weight around all day, every day, and it can absolutely crush a person's well-being. And look, this isn't just a hunch. It's backed by some serious data. Major research from India's top medical institutions, we're talking AIMS and ICMR, confirms that this trend is absolutely on the rise. So yeah, this is not just a theory, it's a documented public health concern. And here's where it gets really interesting, because this totally shatters a common myth. This isn't an issue that only affects one type of body. The research shows that the distress is felt just as intensely by young people who feel they are underweight as it is by those who feel they're overweight. The digital standard basically creates this impossible, no-win situation that puts pressure on everyone from all sides. So, this brings us to the next obvious question, right? Why is this happening? What's really at the root of all this growing distress? Well, as we're about to see, it's deeply, deeply connected to the fragile nature of self-esteem. The research points to this really powerful, kind of toxic combination. On one hand, you have the 24/7 just constant exposure to social media. And on the other hand, you have these completely unrealistic beauty standards, often digitally altered, that these platforms spread like wildfire. They're really two sides of the very same coin. This quote just nails the internal conflict at the heart of it all. Online, there's all this pressure to show off a perfect, curated version of yourself. But that creates this painful gap between that digital persona and the real person looking in the mirror. You end up comparing your real life to someone else's highlight reel, and that someone else is you. And here's the crucial part. This cycle of comparison doesn't just stop at appearances. Oh no, it digs way deeper, chipping away at a person's fundamental sense of self-worth. It slowly transforms "I don't like how I look" into "I am not good enough." But hey, the story doesn't just end with the problem. Thankfully, the research also shines a light on the solution. It points toward a pretty clear path forward, and it's one that relies on real, meaningful intervention. The key here is to build a safety net where young people actually are, where they live and learn. This all starts with proactive intervention in schools, teaching things like resilience and digital literacy from a young age. And then it has to continue with strong, accessible mental health support in universities, because that's often where these pressures really hit a boiling point. And this, right here, is probably the most important takeaway from all of this. Instead of telling young people to just be more confident or just log off, this approach recognizes that the environment itself is a huge part of the problem. It shifts the responsibility from the individual to the institutions that shape their lives. It's about creating a much healthier ecosystem for everyone. So, understanding the problem is the first massive step, but the real work is just beginning. It leaves us with this final, crucial question. How can we, as a society, adapt our schools and our communities to truly support a generation that's navigating a world where that digital standard literally never sleeps? That's the challenge we all face.